underestimate. SB and Sean breaking through the noise, serving real talk, the genuine choice. No pretense, no hidden schemes, just sports passion fueling dreams. From the field to the court, every play that's made. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up, hear the honest sound. Unfiltered sports all year round. Discussions pure, no masquerade. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up. Over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates.
And we are live. Sbtalksports Sean Webb, real takes over fake debates. It is Friday. Sean, how you doing today, brother?
Doing good, SB. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good on this Friday. It's feel good. Also, make sure you guys like, make sure you guys share, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and join the RTOFD movement. Also, the RTOFD membership is live. Please join the membership, join the RTOFD family. Perks come with that, and you have exclusive access when you do. Sean, we have a lot to impact today in the sports world. Obviously, when it comes to the NBA, cannot stop the drama. So it's always always something new when it comes to the NBA. We also got to do our NFL wish list offseason edition. We got the AFC North. So shout out to all the AFC North fans. So if you are an AFC North fan, tune in. We got to talk about that. Also, we got to talk about a couple free agent moves that's going on. And also, Mark Cuban has finally said something about the Luka Dončić trade. You're going to get all that when it comes to the show. But, Sean, we got to start off with what's the biggest news that is covering sports today. Yesterday, LeBron James the Knicks played the Lakers, two big major market teams where a lot of stars will actually come see those teams play. You know, you have the Spike Lees in the house or the occasional different movie stars that are at the Lakers game. This particular game, StephenASmith was there. And I believe it was either after the game or at halftime that LeBron James angrily confronts StephenASmith. A lot of people play him out mouth reader when it comes to this situation with Stephen A. and LeBron. It seems like, well, everybody assuming that he said pretty much keep my son's name out of this or keep my family's name out of your mouth. Obviously, you know, StephenASmith is the head analyst at First Take. Obviously, LeBron James is LeBron James. And StephenASmith be on First Take and also had a Stephen A. Smith show. And it's been a couple times where he has been critical of Bronny. And some people question the fairness of it. But before we get into that, and we're going to show the video of what I believe was the true reason of this, because I don't believe it was just him criticizing this game. But I believe this certain clip that I have got, be prepared for you guys to watch it, was the reason why. But, Sean, what was your initial reaction when you seen LeBron confront StephenASmith?
Oh, a little surprising, SB. Obviously, you know, when you work in this space in this world, and particularly when you have the platform of a StephenASmith who has a journalism background, although I am hard pressed to call him a journalist at this point. I think he is far more a shock jock than a journalist. He's basically the ESPN version of Howard Stern. A little surprising. Again, that's not something you generally see play out in public. Mm-hmm. You know, oftentimes, you know, back in the day, if you were a writer or a columnist and you wrote an article about a player and the player didn't like it, more often than not, you would have to see them in the locker room. And in this particular instance, this wasn't in the locker room. This was on the sidelines of you know, the game that you mentioned last night. Mm-hmm. So it's not something we often see play out in the public eye. And of course, also didn't help that, obviously, because everybody's a cameraman now because of, these wonderful things here that, someone was recording it. They were not close enough to pick up the audio, but of course the person's recording it, and Stephen A's back is to whoever's recording it, but you can see LeBron in his face. I wouldn't say in a threatening way, because it didn't appear that LeBron was trying to intimidate him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think obviously, certainly there was a level of confrontation there, and by all accounts, like LeBron said to keep my son's name out your mouth and cut that S out, or whatever, however you want to paraphrase it. This isn't uncommon, but the fact that it played out in the public where everyone could see it and it was being recorded is where it certainly gets interesting. And you mentioned these are two guys who, one is obviously worldwide famous, the other one is well known for other reasons as well. I can say personally, it's not something I necessarily want to see. I would rather, and when I say want to see, it's not that I don't mind the confrontation. I don't want to see it happen in the public space.
Yeah.
Right. It's particularly between two black men who have, platforms, one very different from the other, but have these platforms, and it's like we can get in a room and have a conversation.
Yep.
And even if we don't agree at the end of that conversation, at least we got a chance to get what we think and our feelings out in front of each other, and that's it. And no one needs to know about that. I hearken it to, while not to the same degree because there was no physical assault, to the Will Smith Chris Rock situation at the Oscars a couple years ago, or 3 years ago now. If there was an issue, take it behind the closed doors, take it behind. Say, people didn't need to necessarily see that thing play out in public. Whether someone agrees with me or not, I don't really care. I'm just talking about the willingness as men to have a conversation. And again, it doesn't necessarily need to play out in public. The adding each other online and on social media and stuff like that, that to me, that's weak to me. So I'm glad it didn't happen in that way, but I do wish it would have played out in a space where, you have a face-to-face conversation, but where again the public isn't watching and isn't witnessing what's going on.
For me, my initial reaction was I was shocked from the point of from LeBron confronting him, not from the fact of who LeBron is as a person. People forget LeBron is a kid from a project baby from Akron, Ohio. So I could get that side coming up, but from the point of how LeBron has been moving since he done got to this point where he's that higher standard of the face of the league, and he's a certain face of certain things going on. He usually don't do that because he don't want the unnecessary attention when it comes to being negative on his name. LeBron wants the attention now. And so usually when he do something like this, when it comes to that, he's trying to send a message. And I think he purposely made it public because it ain't like he could have just waited to catch Stephen A any other day. I just think maybe that was his first time seeing him. You could argue maybe that was his first time seeing him. He just reacted off emotions. But LeBron has never did that in his career where he just react off emotion off impact. So I believe this was the point to send a message publicly. Because now, and LeBron, after a while, when you get a certain age, you ain't got time for all that messing around no more. Even when, remember that one guy, I forgot his name. I think his name Doug Gobert or something. He's a coach. And he said,
Doug Gottlieb.
Doug Gottlieb, yeah. Gottlieb Gobert. I couldn't think of it. I knew his name was Doug something. But Doug Gottlieb, but he pretty much said Bronny couldn't start on his team. And then, I guess he coached him in college. and the college team been doing bad, and then Bron tweet about it. Usually Bron don't even like address stuff, so he kind of been more addressing stuff more lately. But every time he seems to address stuff, it seems like he's trying to send a message. And though obviously to publicly address Stephen A., which is probably like the face of mainstream sports media right now, I believe he was trying to send a message. Now, Sean, what I believe, because Stephen A. addressed it, obviously, but it's a point of what I've seen, because obviously over here, what we do, we obviously would give our take if we see something, but I never give my first initial reaction without doing my research. So my first initial reaction, I was like, man, bro, why he just pull up on Stephen A. like that? What's going on? I think LeBron tripping. But I was like, okay, let's really find the root of the problem. So, go to the Twitter world. You see people drop videos for context. You can go look it up, see what's going on, look at other people's podcasts. So the first thing I seen was somebody clipped it. I seen it because I'm going to tell you how I start. I clipped it. They clipped it in the comments as it was Nick Wright podcast. Nick Wright podcast pretty much talked about how he was talking about LeBron. And during the time while he was talking about LeBron, he had Bronny lowlights playing in the background, and he wasn't even talking about Bronny, which the clip we do have, that's a clip from the show. So I said, okay, then I look up like with Stephen A's different segments and talking about him. Then, boom, right when somebody clipped that part, I'm like, oh, here it go right here. And I looked at it, and we finna play it. And with seeing this, I see why LeBron reacted the way he is, because, okay, we just see it, and y'all can react to in the comment section. But after seeing this, Sean, I see why LeBron reacted the way he did.
I was on First Take, my day job on ESPN earlier this morning, and I spoke about this, and I felt the need to elaborate even further because a couple of people text me and pissed me off, and they know who they are. People close to LeBron James talking to me about questioning him as a father. Come on, y'all. I mean, it's gotten to a point where this LeBron sensitivity is just beyond the pale. You call him the second best player in the history of the game, you're insulting him because you said he's not the GOAT. You're saying that at age 40, we've never seen anybody do what he does, but pointing out at times how he may not have hustled back on defense in a key pivotal moment, and that's a problem. You give him all the praise in the world when he drops 40, but he has a bad night, and you say he had a bad night, and you're hating. It's ridiculous. But never before has it been more ridiculous than it is right now, because the reality is that we got to be real about what we're seeing when we talk about Bronny James. I am not a person that had a problem with Bronny James being on the court for the season opener with LeBron James. That was a phenomenal moment to see a father on the court with his son who has NBA aspirations playing together for the first time in NBA history. The Griffies in baseball.
Now, Sean, I literally put my fingers on two things with the problem with that was it was a 4 or 5 minute segment. I clipped 1:30 of it real quick, and I let it fully play it out because I wanted you to see when he finally started talking about Bronny and showed his numbers. Bro, first things first, the reason why LeBron publicly addressed you is because, one, you said if he be off that you got your team addressing me, you could come address me directly. So you asked for the smoke. He pulled up and gave it to you. That's one. Two, you are unfairly dissing Bronny because you are literally have not said, it was 40 to 50 seconds in, you had said nothing about Bronny, but you got his low lights playing in the background. How was that analyzing the game? That's clear. So now you poking the bear. So now I'm not mad at them. When I seen that, I'm like, I understand why LeBron pulled up on him. Now it's like, okay, you trying to make a mockery of his son now. Or you unfair analyze. Now it'd be different if the whole segment is about, okay, Bronny has not been playing good. He didn't say Bronny name to a minute in, and I seen Bronny stats. I seen Bronny lowlights before he even said his name. And then you said, hey, LeBron, if you got a problem, talk to me directly. So he literally, okay, I'm finna take the time of my day since you want these problems. I'm gonna give it to you now. And Stephen A. got what he asked for. That's why he pulled up on Sean. That exact clip right there is why LeBron James pulled up on him.
Do you remember the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin when Kevin Hart goes to the electronics store?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's what this is. Right? It's LeBron's Romney Malco's character, the guy who works in the store, and he's trying to be professional and stuff like that. And Kevin Hart's being kind of condescending, and it's like, okay, now you want to have a moment. We're about to have this moment. I'm cleaning up the language, obviously, but I think there are a couple things to remember. Number one, there's an accountability that comes with doing this. You say something, you write something, you put something out about someone that is far more criticism than critique, or is perceived as far more criticism than critique, because critique is what I like to do. Is we like to try to find the good and the bad and talk about them holistically, versus criticism is just all negative.
Mm-hmm.
When you are on that side of criticism, that's when you tend to get the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to say this. If you're talking about Bronny as a basketball player, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. When you're talking about LeBron and Bronny's father-son relationship, that's when you start stepping in the waters you got to be very, very careful about, because that dynamic is not monolithic. It looks very different depending on the relationship, right? The relationship Bron and has with his sons is different than the relationship I have with my own son, and vice versa. It's not supposed to look the exact same. And it's not going to look the exact same, and there are a lot of reasons for that. I think sometimes when you talk about someone's child, and again, Bronny is Bron's child, although he's an adult, that is still his child. It is not unnatural for LeBron to feel some type of way about it. But I want to go back to something I said when I started this: accountability. The accountability can't just be from Stephen A. I think Bron has to take some accountability for this. When you tweet stuff like, man, Bronny definitely better than some of these cats I've been watching on League Pass today. That's lightweight hilarious. And you tweet this a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, I think you're asking for attention that's going to be there, but you're adding fuel to the fire. You're giving bullets to people who have the gun. So there's got to be some level of accountability there as well. You and I talked extensively throughout last year's draft and through this entire Bronny process. And my big question was, and my big question continues to be, is this the best situation for him to develop?
Mm-hmm.
As a player, as a young man, is this the best situation? I don't have the answer to that. That remains to be seen, but it is a fair question. And I think, again, that's part of what we do. And again, a lot of times, if you go to I'll say a parent-teacher conference for one of your children, for your daughters, the teacher may say something you may not like.
That's true.
They're giving their critique or their criticism. They spend time either watching or observing or enough time with your child to form some sort of opinion or some sort of thought about that child. The flip side as a parent is you may not like it, but where you have to pull yourself away from it emotionally and say, is there some realistic possibility that what they're saying, albeit it in a way I don't like, is there some truth to it? And that's where, again, I want LeBron and anybody in a situation like that to just take a little bit of time to say, is it fair? I'm not saying Stephen A is 100% right, because again, my problem with Stephen A is I don't want to go into that. My issue is don't play the hit victim when you're the one out taking swings.
A lot of them at that.
And again, you understand, and we're going to talk about this in a second, when Bron's name is trending, it gets clicks, it gets views, it gets impressions. That is the nature of the world that we're in. Bron knows that. He gets it. What he did last night, I don't think was unintentional. I think he did it knowing full well it was going to be a big topic of talk today because we're clearly talking about it. I'm not sure there wasn't a platform that wasn't talking about it today because it's LeBron James and because he is, in fact, confronting someone who has this huge platform and does speak to, hundreds of thousands of people on a daily basis as a result of those platforms. So I'm not saying that LeBron didn't know that this was going to happen. I'm saying that I think there needs to be, albeit different, some accountability from both sides. Don't play victim and say I'm a journalist when what you were doing is not what journalism is or was about.
No, I had to 1,000% agree because he showed throw that journalism tag out there. Don't try to use that as your safety words and try to get you out of safety net, because he did address it because everybody was confused about because everybody's reading lips. But Stephen A today on First Take did confirm, and he took accountability, allegedly. I don't think he did. He just confirmed what we thought that was the problem. So he came on First Take and said it was about Bronny, or it's about his family, but now I think it was about Bronny. And he said, and Stephen A was real more calm. So we should see, because he's still, like we talked about earlier before the show, he still got his podcast. So let's see if the energy changed on his platform, then it's just the ESPN platform, because he could have just been playing good because he was on First Take. But he went on First Take and said there wasn't a elite player talking to me. That was a father talking to him. And he confirmed it was about Bronny. So before we keep it going, before we keep it going on to the next segment, what was your reaction to Stephen A's response? Do you think he handled it the right way, or do you think he should have kept the same energy that he was having before then, like in that clip?
I think, again, part of why Stephen A responded the way he did on First Take was because he didn't really get a chance to respond directly in LeBron's face last night.
Which he could have.
Well, I mean, LeBron did walk off, so maybe there was an opportunity to, again, this is why I wish they had gone behind closed doors and had a conversation, whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, conversation, a back and forth. We don't have to agree to have some understanding. We don't have to be aligned to be in agreement. And again, if the criticism about Bronny is as a basketball player, that is fair. That's fair. That is the nature of this beast. But if you start going at things personally and personal dynamics that you're not 100% aware of because you're not there, that's when you toe into those waters that, again, you may not necessarily want to get into because, again, it can get really murky, particularly when you're talking about someone's child. I'll give you a prime example, SB. Several years ago, God rest his soul, Kobe Bryant made some comments about the Trayvon Martin situation. And the comments were they were off base, but part of the issue with some of the comments were they were a gross generalization of the Black community. Came out of left field, if I'm being very honest. And at the time, I was writing at the time, so I wrote an article for Yahoo Voices called "The Ignorant Mamba." But at the same time, Jamel Hill, who was on ESPN, I think they were doing He Said, She Said, or whatever the show was with her and Michael Smith. She was very critical of Kobe's statement. And found out later on after he passed that he actually hit her up after that. He saw it. He hit her up and said, "Hey, call me." And they talked. They had a conversation. And he actually reached out to Trayvon Martin's parents.
Oh, okay.
And apologized. Again, accountability. You said something, you did something, you own it, you apologize for it. That's it. And you move forward. I do think sometimes we don't do that enough. If I say something on here about somebody and it gets to them and they don't like it, or I say something about someone on here, or you say something about someone on here and it's off base, or and again, we try not to make a habit of talking about things that we haven't ourselves researched or gotten some level of understanding on. But if we've done that and we do that, you can best believe the first thing I will do is reach out and apologize.
Yep.
Won't like it. No, I'm just kidding. But no, but
it depends. It depends for me.
Well, it certainly depends, but also from the perspective of, hey, listen, nobody's perfect. Nobody's always right. We try to get it right as much as possible, but we're not always right. That's okay. But it's how you handle it and how you grow from it and how you move forward. And that's really what this is about to me. And will Stephen A change? No. I can give you 5 years, 100 million reasons why he won't change. So, this isn't going to get better, but I do think, again, there's got to be some accountability, and accountability does need to be from both sides. But I think especially from the side of when you do media, when you have these platforms, you can't just get up and just say any and everything that comes to your mind without at least, fact checking and doing some level of research. Because if you didn't, then you put yourself in these positions. And I think, again, Stephen A should know better, but he's also doing it because that's what he gets paid $100 million to do, is to be Howard Stern.
Pretty much. And then also with me, I agree, I'll be accountable, but it depends on how you confront me. Like, hey, I told you how LeBron is not, especially in that public setting. Oh no, we'd have been there arguing. We'd have been there. I would have said something you really don't like this. Just for the point of it, like you said, pull me to the side. Hey, bro, let me holler at you. You know what I'm saying? I respectfully listen, be cool. But for you to try to come up to make a whole, you trying to make it something. Oh, okay, now we gonna really make it something. We gonna really have something to talk about to my own first take. If it was me, oh, such and such. I told you what I would have probably said at that point, but I ain't gonna say it on him. But just for the point of how he came at it, if you come at somebody the right way, and like you said, somebody on the media side, you got to be accountable for what you said, and then you got to be able to, and then you got to also accept what comes with that, because just because I be accountable don't mean he gonna accept the apology or how they go. You can't control how somebody else gonna react. But let us know what you guys think about that. Was LeBron right or wrong? Was Stephen A right or wrong? do y'all think, especially with the clip, do you think Stephen A was wrong how he had Bronny Low Lights playing? Let us know. Comment down below. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Sean, we got to go on another rant. You know, this is the part of the new thing with sports, mainly basketball, I should say. It just seemed like everything is getting away from more of the game and more about what other people saying about the game. And then with what they say about the game don't really be about the game. So Kendrick Perkins, which this is going to be a two-part segment where we got to talk about both sides. So Charles Barkley goes off on inside the NBA like he always do. Pretty much called Kendrick Perkins. He didn't say by name, but we knew what he was talking about Kendrick Perkins. I'm going to tell you why in a second. He pretty much called Kendrick Perkins an idiot. It went on a lengthy rant because he pretty much said the Lakers are saving the NBA. And Charles Barkley wished that people was talking about more like the OKCs, the Clevelands, stuff like that other team. Pause from the point of, well, I'll say Charles was wrong yet because the Lakers have been better, but he has not been talking about it. Like now, I get it from like a couple months ago, I will hear you too. But now you kind of do got to acknowledge that the Lakers have been balling on both sides of the ball, especially since the Luka trade. Now from the Kendrick Perkins side. Kendrick Perkins said the Lakers are saving the NBA, which I also think he's wrong because the problem is that the mainstream media only care about the Lakers. And y'all were just saying the NBA was trash or the NBA was boring because the Lakers pretty much won. When y'all just exposed yourself. Now all of a sudden the Lakers go on a win streak. The NBA is back. What has changed? The play style. I thought y'all was just complaining about the threes. I thought y'all was complaining about the effort. So the effort just changed in a month. Only thing changed that the Lakers got better. So that's pretty much what you said. So you don't care about the OKCs. You don't care about the Clevelands or the Denvers. Because I made a comment when I seen Perkins say this on the IG, and I was just like, I literally said, no, Perkins, the Lakers did not save the NBA. The problem is that the mainstream media only care about big market teams, a la the Lakers. That's it. So did somebody comment under there and say, no, SB, you wrong because they covered the Warriors. Pause that right there too. The Warriors is a big market team. Oh, what about when Miami Heat had LeBron on their run? They had LeBron. And it's South Beach still because it's still like, oh, it's still lower Miami, but they had LeBron. Then he said 3. Oh, what about the Denver Nuggets one? And I legitimately said they did not care that the Denver Nuggets won. And that is a fact. Even when the Denver Nuggets beat the Lakers, Sean, they were talking about the Lakers, don't even talk about the Denver Nuggets. And then also, I want to read this one comment verbatim that somebody said, and he agreed with me. So I was like, and I told brother, I said, bro, you literally proved my point, bro. Everything you named a big market team, another team in Miami, South Beach, when they had LeBron, what they was like the most popular team in the league. And then you tried to cover it up with the Nuggets, and we all know nobody cared about the Nuggets because at that point in time, Jokic was the best player in the league, and the Denver was the best team in the league, and they wasn't even covered like that. But this guy C Money comment under me, he said, SB, I always remember when Lisa Salters, no fault to Lisa Salters, you just kind of called it straight. I always remember when Lisa Salters said she's not really familiar with Joker's game while broadcasting for ESPN, all while the Nuggets were rolling to the championship and Joker was about to win another MVP. Imagine, this is the biggest market in sports. Like I said, sorry for Lisa, because Lisa's cool, but she just ended up catching it straight. But how can you go cover a game, even if you know it? Hey, look, even if you haven't been covering it, you know that you are trained that day, you know, write up all your notes, at least know what you're talking about. Everybody, you know, if you cover media enough, it's hard to keep up with everything. Sean, you understand that, especially if you covering the game. You supposed to still prepare yourself. You never supposed to go on the airways and be like, hey, I'm not really familiar with Jokic. And he's the best player in the league right now, and the Nuggets the best team in the league. How you not familiar? I don't care if they was in Timbuktu, Tuscaloosa. I don't care if it's North Dakota. If they the best team in the league with the best player in the league, they could be in the middle of nowhere. You got to know what you got to talk about with them. And that literally proves my point that the mainstream media only care about the Lakers or a big market team, big names, because I guess they bring the ratings in. But if you actually push these other teams that will help, and then on Charles Barkley's side, you also got to admit when you're wrong. Hey, you're right. The league does need to cover the other teams. But But also, you care so hard about getting your point across that you're not even acknowledging the fact that the Lakers have improved and got better. But Sean, for both sides, I had to go my rant real quick. Sorry. For both sides' perspective, what's your side from Charles Barkley and the Kendrick Perkins thing?
So I was watching when Charles Barkley did go on his diatribe last night. I thought he was 100% correct. He did acknowledge that the Lakers have played very well these last few weeks. He didn't deny that. Charles Barkley's comments last night were not about the Lakers. It was about the media and the coverage of the game, a media that he's a part of. Now, his part is finite in the sense that Charles Barkley is only on basically once a week during the regular season. It's the daily stuff, and that's why he pointed out ESPN, because ESPN has daily shows where you have these conversations and you only want to talk about two things, the Lakers and to a lesser extent, the Warriors. There's been a lot that's gone on in the league this year. There's a lot that's happened in the league this year that hasn't gotten its just due in terms of coverage. There's a lot of reasons for that, but I think namely what it comes down to is we are in the age more and more every day of let's make sure we're trending. So it's not about coverage. It's not about reporting, giving equitable reporting across the board. It's about what's trending, what's hot. What can we hashtag that will get us clicks, views, and certainly, again, help us trend. Giannis Antetokounmpo, two-time MVP, just went over 20,000 career points the other day. Did you hear anything about it, SB?
I haven't heard nobody raving about it at all.
No. We're talking about it now because when we were on Monday, he hadn't done it. He's done it, and now we're talking about it. That's not what's happening at ESPN. I also think, too, and again, this is, to point out kind of the issue, and I'll say this, and I'm being very, very clear when I say this. Kai Cenat was on First Take the other day.
Yep.
Why?
For clicks and attention.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cassidy don't even really care about. I mean, he probably 2K. He play 2K like that. He's a streamer, bro. He care about other stuff. He don't know sports like that to be on like that.
Right. So it's not about let's get these, interesting perspectives and sports minds on television and, broaden our audience. No, it's who's hot, who's trending. How can we do that? And that's the age that we're in. So Charles Barkley's right, but Charles Barkley also has to recognize that the age that we're in more and more, and it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better.
And I'm trying to see what's Cal on the press run because I understand sometimes you have people on shows, like have actors come on a show. But I'm gonna go back and look, but I don't believe that Castanet was like promoting anything. Like, I got this movie coming out, or I got this stream coming up. You know what I'm saying? That'd be there because you go on the show, as to promote something. Or at least you have somebody that's like close to sports in the sports world. Like they have WWE stars, but that's sports entertainment. So especially if Castanet wasn't promoting like a movie or a stream or a show, there's no reason for him to be on. Honestly, and I rock with Cat. Shout out Cat Smack. But Sean, I think for the NBA to grow, and remember I said that one show we had about the formula about the NBA what will make the NBA back perfect again. And remember one of the points I said, make a major market team, a championship contender team again and be big. This is my reason why I said that. Because at the end of the day, y'all do OKC is outstanding. Outstanding. And also to make it even better with OKC, the best player on their team plays like the style of play that y'all asked for. He don't jack up a lot of threes. He attacked the mid-range. He attacked the rim. He's an explosive guard. Nobody talks about that. You know why? Because he's an OKC. And also, Sean, nostalgia is killing the game too, but that's a different story for a different day. But that's the big thing. What else I say? You know what? Y'all not gonna care about it anyway. Just go send SGA, and I'm not even saying it because I'm a Bulls fan. Just go send SGA to Chicago.
Yeah,
go send that man to Chicago. Since y'all want to be him, y'all want to be Jordan. That's so bad. And that's the only way y'all gonna cover the game, right? But just go send Ant-Man to Chicago. There you go.
And I'll say this real quick, SB. I don't believe nostalgia is killing the game. I think what's killing the game is comparison.
There you go.
More than nostalgia. Nostalgia is always going to be there as you get older. And if you've experienced something, there's always going to be some level of nostalgia. It's the comparisons that's killing the game. Trying to compare this guy from a different era who never played against this guy from a different era. That, to me, is what's killing the game. And even Barkley in his rant last night said this insane, asinine Jordan versus LeBron debate. I'm not going to go there. Yeah. It is that's what's killing the game. It's the comparison. You can enjoy The Godfather is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. I venture to say The Godfather is a perfect movie. A perfect movie. It's not full of CGI. It's not full of a bunch of explosion scenes and things like that. I don't compare The Godfather to an Avengers movie. Why? Very different times, very different tones, and I can enjoy both movies just the same.
Yes.
You know, my all-time favorite artist is Prince. I love Prince. I don't compare Prince to anyone else. Prince is the Prince. Everyone else is everyone else. So to me, the problem is the comparisons, the attempt at comparisons that you'll never really be able to come to any level of real understanding or agreement on, because there's no way to prove it. We never saw this guy play against this guy. So why am I going to compare those guys? That's why, again, going back sometime, that's why I said that's why I do tiers. I'm not going to compare these guys. I'm not going to say, oh, this guy was, in fact, just way better than this guy. No. Look at this guy and his career. What did he do in his career? What did he do with his career? Was he great? Yes. Cool. This other guy, I don't have to compare this other guy to boost this other guy up or tear this other guy down. I can look at him and say he's a great player and he has a great career. That's fine. That's okay. But when we get into the whole, we just got to compare. We got to be like, you know, who's better, LeBron or Jordan? Can't both things be great?
Yep. They ain't gonna do that though, because you got to say is disrespect. Because what's one thing that do blow me, that what's the name do that like get on my nerves a little bit. In one breath, he'll be like, "Oh, y'all act like it's so disrespectful to say LeBron number 2." And then when somebody say, "Oh, Jordan number 2," "Oh, you just disrespectful. You don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, bro, you contradicted yourself, and that's it. You got to stop doing that. And it's either side of the debate. And also, I don't like that. Like people just disrespect Kareem too. But we'll say that that's a different topic for another day. We got to keep going on, moving to the next story. We got next, Mark Cuban finally gave us something on how he felt about Luka Dončić getting traded. He pretty much said, and I quote, "Of course I was upset, but if the Mavs are going to trade Luka Dončić, that's one thing. No disrespect to Anthony Davis, but you just got to get a better deal." He was like, if we had gotten 4 unprotected first-round picks and Anthony Davis and Max Christie, that would be a different conversation. Sean, I'll let you go ahead first on this because I got to talk about this.
He's not wrong. He's absolutely right. And that, to me, was the biggest issue with the trade. Any team can decide they want to trade a player. Your job is to get max return for that player or that asset. If the team this year with the number one, whoever gets the number 1 overall pick, which we all assume is going to be Cooper Flagg, says, hey, we're interested in shopping the number 1 pick, you're supposed to get everything you can for that number 1 pick because you're inevitably saying we're okay trading away Cooper Flagg. That's the job. That's the business. That's the issue. And that's why I have no issue with what Mark Cuban said. He is absolutely 100% right. If you were going to trade Luka Dončić, get the max value in return. And again, the Lakers were limited in what they could offer. So, but they were so locked in on getting a specific player in this deal that's why they didn't negotiate in truth with more than just the 2 teams they apparently called.
Yeah. The more and more information come out about this trade, I just realized how bad the Lakers fleece the Mavericks. To make them, hey man, make sure you don't tell nobody about this trade. If you tell somebody about this trade, man, I'm not gonna let you get your boy Anthony Davis. Just fleeced them out and it gave them nothing for old Jeep Durango, you know what I'm saying, for a Benz right now, a newer addition, a younger fresh player, And when I said I had a lot to say about this, it's not from the point of Mark Cuban because Mark Cuban is right. It's from 2 points perspective. One is about the new ownership. For you to just abruptly destroy this team for your own greediness of a casino or willingness, not for the love of the game, I hate that for Mavs fans. And I don't want to necessarily say I hate somebody, but I hate that you're disrespecting the game of basketball because you came to buy a team, not with the initiate to build a team or for your love of the game of basketball. Use this for a business decision. So now it's a slap in the face to the fans. It's a slap in the face of people who fans who spend money, the ticket holders. It's a slap in the face to any other organization of the game. That's what my problem is. Like, you put yourself in the position to ruin a product for your own selfish greed that you didn't have no love for. And I think that needs to change for Adam Silver in the future. We'll be trying to get this expansion. We're trying to get the expansion going in the NBA. You're trying to get a new owner for Boston. If the new owner don't care how much money, it's not worth it in a long haul because it will ruin the league. No more owners who don't come in to try to help grow the game or grow the team will actually care about basketball. If they trying to just bat Boston just to build a Boston coffee shop or a Boston amusement park with the team, so when you go to the amusement park, you get a ticket for the team and that's the only reason why they're buying the team. No. If you're not trying to actually own the team, build this team, grow the team, no more owners like that. Because it's going to dilute the league. It's going to make the league unwatchable. It's going to turn fans away. I just don't like it. Hey, that's my point. Second point is Mark Cuban literally said it like best. If you're going to trade a player like this, you got to get everything available. And if you're so home set, and I think I said this before when we talk about this trade, if you got your eyes so set on Anthony Davis, how is it not hard to get a third team involved to get more picks involved? It's easy way. You don't think that, hey, look, we want Anthony Davis. We got Luka shipped around. You can find another way to get 2 or 3 more, 4 picks. Because ain't no way you don't. Anthony Davis ain't. Shout out AD because, I don't know AD disrespect. He's from the city. AD is too old to be getting traded and got too much injury history to be getting traded for a young superstar like Luka Dončić without 4 first-round picks. People are saying that when KD get traded now at 37, 38, they better get him 2 first-round picks. But you got 1 for Luka? Come on, dog. And then now the ownership might be questioning if they're going to fire you. You better not fire Nico. Keep him. You made him do this. You stick with him then. Don't switch up on him and be like, oh, no, we didn't know. Y'all trying to ruin the team. And then if you going to Sean, last thing, and then we can go on unless you got something else on it. If you pretty much finna get rid of a Luka Dončić and you're trying to ruin the team because you're trying to ruin your team for the future, blow the whole team up, get another bunch of picks. Because Sean, if I'm right, if I'm saying wrong, if I'm wrong with the years, let me know in the comments. I believe 27, 28, and 29, or it's 28, 29, 30. They don't even got their first round picks.
The Lakers?
No, the Mavericks.
The Mavericks.
So you got no future. No future. Your future is cooked. So at least compensate for what you're missing out on. That would have been smart. So that's why I said the move literally shows me, and how they talked about Luka, this was literally a whole different agenda, and I think it's disrespecting again. That's all. That's something. Anything else on this, Sean?
No.
Okay. Now let's go to the football, man. Let's go to the gridiron. NFL free agency officially starts March 10th, Sean. It's a lot of big names in here. We can't go through the whole list. But if you had to give me 3 free agents that's available right now, top 3 free agents available is
Milton Williams, the defensive tackle from the Philadelphia Eagles. He's going to get an absolute bag on the market. Don't think Philly. I don't see Philly be able to re-sign him. So Milton Williams, Ronnie Stanley, the left tackle from the Baltimore Ravens, who we're going to talk about here in a moment, would definitely be my second one. And my third one would be Carlton Davis, the cornerback from the Detroit Lions, previously from the Buccaneers. Those would be my top 3 free agents available.
I had a feeling you was kind of going some way with them, so I went a little different. Mine is off instant impact, and probably won't cost you that much to get them. One of them, I'm gonna be biased on it because I'm heard he gone, but it is what we got to do. Joey Bosa. Now, reason I go Joey Bosa, I know he had injury problems, but if he go to a contending team where he don't have to do as much, you know how dangerous it would be to see a Joey Bosa on the same side of like a TJ Watt, which I kind of exposed one of my things I was going to say, a TJ Watt, or you go get him over there with the Lions with Aiden Hutchinson. And then it's like he was getting injured with the Chargers because he had a heavy workload. He was like the only main real good pass rusher. Now you put him over there with somebody else just as good with him, instant impact. Also, another good vet I believe he got released from the Commanders because they couldn't find a trade for him. I'm going to go Jonathan Allen. I think the Bears should get on that. If anybody, I'm going instant impact will provide championship caliber impact and probably won't cost you that much. I would definitely go him. Then the next one, if you need a safety valve, where I will go. I believe he's still available now. Mike Gesicki, tight end. I think if you got a vet quarterback or you got a young quarterback who needs a good, valuable tight end who can add instant impact, I'm gonna go Mike Gesicki. That's my 3. And my 3 picks are instant impact alone where they can make a difference. Then, Sean, we got our offseason wish list and predictions. AFC North Edition. First up on the list, Sean, we got the Baltimore Ravens. What you think the Baltimore Ravens should do?
So the Ravens at present have just under $12 million in cap space. Their team needs going into this offseason are offensive tackle, cornerback, offensive guard, linebacker / edge, and wide receiver. So the first thing I think the Ravens need to do is to extend Kyle Hamilton and make him the highest paid safety in the league. He is more than earned that designation. He's still a very young guy. He's only 24 years old. Got a lot of great football left ahead of him, obviously. But extend Kyle Hamilton. And also they need to extend Isaiah Likely and Tyler Lindenbaum, their center. All those guys are extension eligible. Kyle Hamilton and Linderbaum have 2 years left on their deal because they were first-round picks, but Isaiah Likely's in the last year of his deal. So go ahead and get ahead of those extensions and extend them. Second thing for the Baltimore Ravens is draft a left tackle on day 1 or day 2. If you don't get one on day 1, I think there's going to be some guys on day 2 who kind of fit the Ravens mold of what they want to be. Guy I'm looking at is Holland Pierce from Rutgers. He is a massive human being, about 6'7", 6'8", 340 pounds. When I watch his film, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Orlando Brown Jr., ironically, former Raven. Just a massive guy, still, refining some of his technique, things of that nature. But he's a guy that he's a Ravens type of pick. And again, when the Ravens took Orlando Brown Jr., they weren't necessarily looking to take an offensive lineman, but they saw the value there. I think for the same thing for Holland Pierce for them. And then the third thing they need to do is draft your replacements for Mark Andrews and Derrick Henry. Draft your replacements for Mark Andrews and Derrick Henry. The Ravens have always been under Ozzie Newsome and now Eric DeCosta, one of the best drafting teams in football. They draft very well. When they make a draft pick, I never question it. I never question what the Ravens are doing. Most people don't because they tend to get it right. But they want to go ahead and draft those replacements. And I'm looking on day 3 of the draft. Mitchell Evans, the tight end from Notre Dame. Again, could be a really good number 2 tight end. I think as Isaiah Likely ascends into that number 1 spot. Mark Andrews still playing at a high level, but they tend to, again, get ahead of those things. And Ollie Gordon II from Oklahoma State. Big back, 6'1", 225. Good power runner. Kind of fits the Ravens model. Again, I think he could be available for them on day 3. So that would be my thing is draft those replacements for Mark Andrews and Derrick Henry in this draft.
Okay. For me, my 3 needs is first, like I said, upgrade. I think we got to go with the defense. Obviously, with the money being low, I think we got to go for cheap vets and pass rush is one. And a cheap vet that I get that will help with that. It wouldn't cost that much as a Khalil Mack because at some point in times last year with the Ravens defense, it's been 50-50. And another part of their defense that has been 50-50 with another cheap vets where they can go is, I think for like the interception from the plays, they need like a big play veteran guy that I will add because it's been a couple of times where the Ravens, if they pass rush couldn't get to the passer, the DBs couldn't make plays. So I signed an old vet like a Darius Slay or a Stephon Gilmore that somebody's not going to cost you that much, somebody who's not going to ask that much up for because obviously you got 2 other DBs. But when it comes to, hey, it's week 12 or it's deep in the playoffs where somebody been here before where I need a play done, I feel like those guys are the guys you need to add to this team because you, at the end of the day, you're trying to win the Super Bowl. Not too many young faces need to be added on this team. I think you need to add some vets that you don't need to add too much for. The next thing, upgrade the O-line. I think everything in this draft, because obviously Lamar Jackson had troubles with the line a little bit this year. I do think they need fresh legs, especially with Stanley being gone. So I think 1, 2 need to be O-line, tackles, guard. I would definitely go that. And I do agree with you with adding a wide receiver or a running back, which would be young. I was definitely looking at if you don't want to go that early with it, you got Cam Scatterboo, and you also got Donovan Edwards, who was a beast, had a down year this year out of Michigan. I think will be a steal of a late pick if you can get him. And that's what I would do if I was Baltimore Ravens. So anything that I'm going young for is like a replacement position. Because I do agree with you that I think it's time for Isaiah Likely, and it's not because of the bad catch. Before anybody says, Tiff, I know it's going to say it in the chat. It's not because of the bad catch. I think it's just time for Isaiah Likely to take that step forward and be that guy. But for the Ravens, any extra position like to replace Henry, I will get him later in the draft. And I think Donovan Edwards, who has fall from Michigan, because we looked at him 2 years ago, if he probably would have left out, he would have probably went way higher in the draft, maybe a second to maybe late first, maybe a third round guaranteed pick, to him slipping all the way down to maybe a fifth, sixth, seventh round pick. I'll go get Donovan Edwards out of Michigan, and I believe that would be a steal to get him that late for the Baltimore Ravens. Next up on the list, we got the dumpster fire that is the Cincinnati Bengals. What you got for me, Sean?
So the Bengals actually have about $52 million in cap space. They're set up pretty well from a cap position, but we have to be very honest. These are the Bengals. They will, and a lot of it has to do with just they're not a team that generates a lot of income, a lot of money. So they are very, very careful about spending, and they're likely going to be the same way this offseason. You know, they're publicly talking a good game, but by all accounts, what they're doing, obviously, by allowing Trey Hendrickson, for example, to explore the trade market, tells me that they are not interested in overly spending a lot of money. So their team needs are cornerback, offensive guard, defensive tackle, tight end, offensive center, and I'm going to add edge to that now as well with the Trey Hendrickson situation, but also Sam Hubbard also retired, announced his retirement as well at 29. So they got some work to do this offseason. But the first thing I'm doing, if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, is I'm extending Jamar Chase. He's in the last year of his deal. You've got to get this extension done this offseason. This should be your number one priority. Get this extension done with Jamar Chase. 5 years, $200 million, $150 million of it guaranteed. That's the market for Jamar Chase. He needs to be the highest paid receiver in the league. This is the deal that would make him the highest paid receiver in the league. And in addition to that, figure out the Trey Hendrickson situation sooner than later, right? The market is changing for edge rushers. Trey Hendrickson is one of the best edge rushers in the league, has been one of the best edge rushers in the league really since he came in, even as a part-timer with the Saints, and now as a full-time and their best defensive player with the Bengals. He has been really, really good. There will be, I think, a market for him, but obviously that remains to be seen given how much he's going to want in terms of a contract extension because he's in the last year of his deal. Second thing, in keeping with how the Bengals do business, draft James Pierce, defensive end from Tennessee, with your first-round pick. James Pierce, defensive end from Tennessee, with your first-round pick. He and Myles Murphy, who was your first-round pick a couple years ago, that's your new big bookends for your defense moving forward. And, you know, James Pierce really is a replacement for Sam Hubbard, but also, again, he and Myles Murphy will, I think, inevitably replace Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson, presuming Trey Hendrickson is moved. And the last thing, you tagged him, now you got to trade him. Trey T. Higgins. Get assets back for T. Higgins. This is not the greatest wide receiver draft. I want to be very clear. There's no Marvin Harrison. There's no Malik Neighbors. There's no Rome Odunze in this draft. But there's some good receivers in this draft who could project out as good wide receiver 2 long term. You got your wide receiver 1. You know who that is. We know it's Jamar, right? So you need a wide receiver 2, a long term. Day 3, Torrey Horton, wide receiver from Colorado State, 6'2", 190 pounds. In my opinion, he's kind of fallen under the radar a little bit because he's been so good for so long in Colorado State. But I think he perfectly fits what they want and what they need in Cincinnati. Again, because you just can't pay T. Higgins and Jamar Chase their market rates like that. So Torrey Horton, wide receiver from Colorado State.
So me and you be on the same page, bro. And then I want to the one thing I'm gassed. Look, my notes are. You can't see. Look, my notes are here written, and I was my handwriting sloppy, but it's right here, right there. And I'm gonna tell you what I said. So I'm a go reverse. I put the thing that should have been first, last, but because it was so obvious. First of all, sign Jamar Chase. Get that over with. Sign Jamar Chase. Knock that out. Once we solidify Jamar Chase, this is what we do. Second thing we doing. We trading T. Higgins. Trade T. Higgins for draft compensation. Anything for the future. We need to go young. And my list of receivers for his replacements, Torrey from Colorado State. Also, and if you wanted a big receiver because you wanted to replace T. Higgins with a big receiver, you could go get Jaden Wiggins. He's 6'4" out of Iowa State. Or you even go in the later rounds, get a fast receiver, a playmaker like Isaiah Vaughn out of Texas. Or you go get Jimmy Horn Jr. out of Colorado. So you can easily, like you said, you need a number 2. You can easily go get a replacement late in this draft. You go get 4th, 5th, 6th round, I believe. Like you said, Torrey from Colorado State might still be there late. Isaiah Bond might be late. And Jimmy Horn Jr., who I think will, if he goes to the right situation, will be nice. Next up, you let him go out to go seek a trade. Why am I missing? Why I'm saying his name wrong? Make sure I say it right. Trade Trey Hendrickson for draft compensation. Because at the end of the day, like you said, they don't want to spend no money. And with my first 3 picks in my draft, and if I get another extra pick in the first round for, which I highly doubt, because you have to seek a trade, they got a first one, they would have traded for him. Hopefully, you get a second. My first 3 picks will all come on the defensive side of the ball. And with that first pick, draft best. My first thing is best available player available. But with that first pick in the first round, either draft Will Johnson out of Michigan, Kenneth Grant D tackle out of Michigan, or Walter Nolan, or Malachi Stark. Draft one of these 4 players if available. But my first 3 picks have to come on the defensive side of the ball. If you're going to lose Trey, you got to retool the defense all around. We need positions everywhere. If the first pick the D tackle, next pick got to be a DB. Okay, we go back and retool the defense. Everything about this defense last year was atrocious. So the best thing to do when the defense is atrocious like that, put new faces in new places. That's what I would do.
I want to just add to SB to that point. Yes, they do need to retool the defense, but they've made it clear that from a spending perspective, offense is going to be where they're going to spend, right? Because obviously you look at Joe Burrow's contract, we look at Jamar Chase's contract. Mm-hmm. This is where they have to really embrace who they are, and they have got to draft very well on the defensive side of the ball. But also remember, TJ Houshmandzadeh, or House Brazili, as some people might say, was a 7th round pick, end up being a Pro Bowler for them. So they have to depend on their ability to scout and find guys who can come in and can play and can really overachieve their draft status or their contract status, because that's what's going to keep this team, I think, in the conversation of a playoff team in the AFC.
I agree with you on that one. That's what I said. All my first 3 picks got to be all defense. Woo! All right, Sean. The Cleveland Browns. What are we doing with Cleveland?
Oh boy! So yeah, Cleveland Browns in a very interesting space. They obviously had to restructure Deshaun Watson's contract. They restructured essentially to get cap compliant before the new league year starts next week. So they have currently about $12.5 million in cap space. But if we're being frank, they're not a team that's necessarily probably going to be overly active in free agency in terms of big spenders in free agency.
No.
So their team needs include quarterback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, running back, cornerback, and edge. So the first thing I have the Cleveland Browns do is take Cam Ward with the number 2 pick in the draft. Agreed. Take Cam Ward with the number 2 pick in the draft, and sign Taylor Heineke. Sign Taylor Heineke as a free agent. You don't have a lot of resources to go out and sign one of the bigger name quarterbacks. You're not gonna. That's not how you're set up right now. So you need a good veteran guy who will be on an inexpensive deal, probably incentive laden deal, depending on how many games they start for you. But just like we talked about previously with Tennessee, any team that takes a young quarterback in this draft, you need a veteran guy to go with that guy so that guy does not have to start from day one. Taylor Heineke can start for the Cleveland Browns from day one. Second thing, trade Myles Garrett. Only if the team you're trading him to will take the remaining contract of Deshaun Watson.
What's that cap hit look like for Deshaun Watson, though?
So the cap hit for Deshaun, so this year's not too bad. Well, this year he's only got a base salary of about $1.2 million, right? They converted his salary this year into a prorated signing bonus, which is about $36 million. That's how they were able to free up some of the cap space. But they still owe him. So they owe him a little bit less. But obviously you still got another, couple years, and I want to say roughly $90 million left on that deal. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to trade Myles Garrett, the only contingency to the team is you have to take Deshaun Watson as a part of the deal, right? Use an asset to get rid of that albatross of a contract, right? Use that asset, Myles Garrett, to get rid of that albatross of a contract, all right? I don't think, honestly, they're going to trade Myles Garrett. They've been very clear they don't want to trade Myles Garrett. Mm-hmm. And if they do trade Myles Garrett, it won't be, in my belief, until after June 1st. But if you trade him, the team that's getting Myles Garrett also has to get Deshaun Watson's contract. So that'll be my second thing. And my third thing is very simple. Pluck the Columbus tree in this draft.
What that mean?
Ohio State has some guys coming out in this draft who can play and who will play in the NFL and be really good players in the NFL. One of the ways I think Cleveland can help themselves is not just by adding talent, but add some talent with some area familiarity, right? Mm-hmm. So, again, you got some guys that are either in their prime or towards the end of their prime. There's some guys coming out of Ohio State that can come in and help you and play from day one and play early. Maybe not necessarily have to start early, but play early. But pluck that Columbus tree in this draft. I think that will do wonders for all of the bad publicity and press that the Cleveland Browns have right now. Andrew Berry, for all the criticism he's gotten, again, is actually a really good GM in terms of he understands how to put a team together, how to get talent. We call Philadelphia Eagles the Philadelphia Bulldogs because all the guys they got from Georgia. You need the Cleveland Buckeyes. You need the Cleveland Buckeyes. Make that the running joke. You're the Cleveland Buckeyes.
The Cleveland Buckeyes. All right. We kind of on the same page a little bit with because maybe I had looked at something wrong with the cap hit. So I thought it said it was like I said something that said if they let him go it was 100-something cap hit. But I would still agree, cap hit or not, I was going to say keep him on the roster. But man said in Watson era, draft Cam Ward. And the reason why I say that, I'm high on Shador. But when I seen what your guy, Jameis Winston, did with this team, I realized that a traditional style quarterback, Shador can make plays, it's not going to be enough. They need that explosive, elusive type of quarterback where you don't really like that Pat Mahomes type of style quarterback. They need that playmaker who can just make plays all type of way. They need a difference. They need that type of difference. Not saying Shador can't do that. I just think Cam Ward's style will fit this Cleveland team much better. Now, also, with that being said, I do agree with you. You got to add some talent around this wide receiver. This quarterback. And a lot of people would say go wide receiver, but I believe in the second or third round, if he is available to make, because you're going to lose Nick Chubb. I think you should let Nick Chubb walk. and replace Nick Chubb with Quishon Junkins out of Ohio State. The best thing that always make a quarterback job easy is if you add a running back behind him that can do a good job. And I think they need to go young. Obviously, they ain't got that much money. I believe Nick Chubb. I don't think they let Nick Chubb walk, I believe, right? Because I didn't see nothing that came out about them signing Nick Chubb. For what I see, he's a free agent.
I would assume they were going to let him test the market, but I mean, I think they would consider bringing him back on a pretty decent deal. But yeah.
And also the second thing, which I think this could be I'm just saying, just a late round pick. If super late round pick, familiarity is always a good thing with your quarterback. And he's one of his wide receivers. It will be in the draft, probably be super late, maybe 6, 7 round. I'll go get Xavier I won't say Resposado, but Xavier Respo from Miami, who was his wide receiver. It won't cost you nothing. You won't lose nothing by getting them, but it would help to have a familiar face with your quarterback to make it easier transition. So I would add,
No, I'm gonna say he's projected to be probably a late second, early third round pick by projection, but so I don't think he'll be there past day 2. So they're gonna get him. It's probably gonna have to be on day 2, to be honest.
And I get him just because at the end of the day, bringing a familiar face in and with your quarterback would help. Not saying he's gonna come in and be over Judy or anybody like that, but that would help. Then last but not least, the third thing that I would do after I added some talent with a running back and a receiver around my new quarterback, I am trading Myles Garrett for a heavy draft compensation. And when I say heavy draft compensation, when you first call my phone and ask about Myles Garrett, I better hear 2 first-round picks. I need to hear 2 first. After 2 first, we can talk whatever. Now, I would have added like how you did. I would have added Deshaun Watson, but like I said, when I was looking about the cap hits, I see something that said $100 million. I'm like, no, you can't take that. You got to just you sit on the bench regardless, Deshaun. Or I was going. My game plan was, because you kind of threw me off when you said that. My game plan was let Deshaun Watson play. Well, I said let Deshaun Watson play to like week 9 or 10, and then start Cam Ward.
Well, unfortunately, Deshaun Watson's not going to play it all this season with the Achilles. Yeah, remember he retore the Achilles.
Yeah,
so he's out. He's out this season, so he's not even an option for them to start. Otherwise, I think they would be like, yeah, we're going to start with him this year if he wins the job in camp, but he's not even playing. So.
All right, Sharon. Last on the list, the steel curtain, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ooh, I got some moves for this thing right here.
Yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers, interesting. They have about $60 million in cap space, so they're really good from a cap perspective, to be frank. But obviously we know, they got some work to do. Their team needs are quarterback, cornerback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, and running back. So first thing I'm doing if I'm the Steelers is I am re-signing Justin Fields to a 2-year deal, very front-loaded in the first year. I think it's super, super important that they do that and make him your number 1 quarterback for 2025.
Okay.
Make him your number 1 quarterback for 2025. I think he obviously, albeit briefly, showed some potential in that offense under Arthur Smith. And the offense, again, just like what Arthur Smith did for Ryan Tannehill, I think could very well help Justin Fields, continue to grow and build his value. And again, give him a year in that offense and, let's see what happens.
Okay.
Second thing, do not extend George Pickens. Do not extend George Pickens.
Ooh.
Trade him to Seattle with a late round pick for DK Metcalf.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
And extend Metcalf for 3 years, $100 million, $75 million guaranteed.
Okay.
So I know we said wish list. We're being honest. DK Metcalf is an upgrade from George Pickens. Seattle is in a very different place in terms of their team. They got some cap issues they're dealing with, so that's one of the reasons why I think they're open to moving Metcalf. You got $60 million in cap space. Let's upgrade that wide receiver with a veteran guy like DK Metcalf. Big physical receiver, can win one-on-one down the field. Those one-on-one shots down the field from Justin Fields. Get you a new number 14 in Pittsburgh, DK Metcalf.
Okay.
And the third thing you need to do is to retool the skill positions, running back and wide receiver. You got to retool both those rooms, right? Retool both those rooms. You were not good enough at running back and wide receiver outside of Pickens last year. You need to retool both of those rooms and continue to add talent to the offensive line. Offensive line has gotten better. They've drafted offensive line talent the last couple of years, but they need to continue to add talent. And again, offensive tackle still stands out for me as a thing they need. And prepare earlier than later to replace aging stars like Cam Hayward, right? Don't hold on too long. Start getting prepared for those guys like Cam Hayward to be gone sooner than later, right? Cam Hayward still playing at a high level, still very much a great player, veteran's presence, but we can't depend on that forever. Start preparing for that inevitability when he's no longer there. And I didn't say this, but I would like to see the Steelers, if at all possible, take the running back from North Carolina, Omarion Hampton, in the second round. I think he could be, if he's there in the second round, but if he's there, you may have to take him late in the first, trade back up and take him late in the first round, depending on how the running backs fall in this draft. But Omarion Hampton would be a big target for me if I were the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, I like it. We finally got one thing a little opposite on here. So my first thing that I'm doing with the Steelers is either draft this person in the first round. I got 3 positions. And you draft that one in the first round, and the other 2 positions you replace with a vet. The positions that I got: running back, wide receiver, or DB. So if one of these 3 names, and these are the 3 names that I want for this team, the 21st pick, one of these 3 names available, you take one, and I'm gonna tell you the replacement that I got. They're not available. If Ashton Jeanty is available at 21, you take Ashton Jeanty. If Luther Burden is available at 21, you take Luther. Or if Will Johnson is available, you take Will Johnson. So let's just say the Pittsburgh Steelers draft, say if they Ashton Jeanty wasn't available and they picked up one of the other 2, the vet replacement that I'm going to go for Ashton Jeanty is you go sign Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb will be excellent in Pittsburgh, and I think he'll be a different dynamic that will fit them perfectly. If you can't get the wide receiver that you want, go get Devontae Adams or go get Chris Godwin. And I think a good vet will, hopefully, that NFL young boy will listen. I doubt he will listen, but I don't think adding another young receiver next to him is a good idea. I think you need a actually polished, established vet to get him on track, because the talent is there. His band is not right. Now, if you can't get the DB, like you said, the DB position was the one available. My veteran replacement, I would either you go get Carlton Davis or you go get Asante Samuel Jr. And I think those will be perfect pieces to add to that team. I know people was questioning about Asante Tackle. I think going to Pittsburgh would definitely help him a lot with that. And then Carlton Davis is a good DB. Now, my second thing that I would do if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm signing Aaron Rodgers on bringing back Russell Wilson. I think this team is at a point where it's the point of desperation where they need a playoff win. And I like Justin Fields better than both of these guys right now. But I can't promise – well, it's either one that we can't really promise that. But this team needs a vet who can put the ball in the air. The air game needs to get right. And I think with the Nick Chubb or Jeanty being behind Rodgers will help him out a lot. So I'm either going Rodgers or I'm bringing back Russell Wilson. And the last thing that I'm doing, and I added this to the list, was I found out he was available. If you have a problem with DBs, the best thing you can do is get to the quarterback fast enough that he can get the ball off. And I kind of said it early in the show. It probably wouldn't cost you that much. And I probably know he want to go to the 49ers with his brother. You find a way to get Joey Bosa in a Steelers jersey. Joey Bosa and TJ Watt on opposite sides or on the same side would probably be some of the most dangerous things that any quarterback or any offensive line will see. And once again, I know Joey Bosa had injury problems, but when you put him in a situation where everything is not 100% dependent on him, I think he would be good, and I think he will be healthy. And people forget how good Joey Bosa is. I will sign Joey Bosa to the Steelers, and I think he will fit the Steelers perfectly with him and TJ Watt rushing the quarterback together.
So you don't like Alex Highsmith?
I ain't saying I didn't like him, but Joey Bosa available. I'm just saying that if Joey Bosa there, I'm sorry. I'm putting Joey Bosa next to TJ Watt, and Highsmith could be waiting yet on the other side. I'm just trying to. I just think with a dynamic like Joey Bosa and a defense who is elite, I don't care who's on the team. You gotta find a way to add that person. You gonna figure it out. That's it. I think that a better Joey Bosa in the Steelers jersey will be a nightmare, Sean. You can't tell me it won't.
3 years ago, I'd agree with you. I don't know if I agree with you now. I mean, I think again, again, I'm not a big name guy. I'm more of a game guy. Mm-hmm. I understand the name, but
look, Sean, I might be guessing because it's my boy on my team, but I'm watching them. I understand what the problem came because everybody worried about the injury concerns in and out the lineup. He's at the age now where everything can't be go through dependent on him. That's why he get hurt. He go to a situation where the Steelers where everything not fully dependent on Joey. Joey could just do his job, get to the quarterback, and move on. I don't believe he'll be injured like that if he goes to a good defensive team. And I just think the steel curtain, him and the Steelers, I see it. I'm just saying, I just see it, Sean. I could be wrong. I might be gassed because Joey, my boy, he played for my Chargers. I still believe it. Joey Bosa still got it. But that is our predictions and wish list for the offseason. Sean, okay, we did 2 AFC teams. We got to go NFC. What we thinking now? Because we did the AFC North and the South, and we did the NFC West. So what you thinking?
Let's do the NFC North.
NFC North, okay, yeah. Now, they making some moves out here too. NFC North Monday wish list and predictions, and the things will ramp up more and add more. Obviously, with the free agency coming up, so that's gonna add moves. It might change what me and Sean might do, or might change what we thinking. But Sean, episode, this is what, 49. Well, who you got?
I got the great Bobby Mitchell.
Bobby Mitchell, okay. Like that. Great Bobby Mitchell. 49 is like a unique number right there. I'm looking at the great Bobby Mitchell. Smith. All right, I like it. I'm going to go Tremaine Edmonds. We're going to go Tremaine Edmonds.
Tremaine Edmonds, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of 49, there was a great moment on trending on social media, SB.
You said it was a what trending on?
It was a great moment trending on
yeah. Hold on. Send the link in the private chat. We definitely got send the link in the private chat because it's on my phone. If you got it,
all right. I got it. Got you covered.
Send it in the private chat. Oh yeah, we definitely got it. We got to start doing this though, Sean. Like every funny video of the week or so, especially or video that we need to react to, good, bad, whatever. Hold on 1 second while this is loaded up. This is hilarious, by the way. Funny moment of the week right here. When you go to Disney World, you see Megatron. And we got to start.
Double digits. Good. Happy birthday. Maybe you will grow to be a winner, unlike the 49ers.
Oh.
Yeah, the Eagles got it done, but you didn't. Happy 10th birthday, young man.
Oh, my goodness. Hey. I didn't like when you sent me that video and I'm looking at it, watching it again, I'm realizing like how sick 49er fans gotta really be to see the Eagles get it done and kind of do it in a similar fashion. A little bit go get the superstar, go get a running back. The running back almost have like an MVP season. People question your quarterback. If he legit, you've been arguing for the season legitly from him. They can make it all the way. And then y'all choked. And then the Eagles make it all the way. And they demolished them. They wasn't even a close game. And they showed you, hey, maybe if you really did this is how you're supposed to win. So I know 49ers fans did. Because it could have been them. It could have been them, but it wasn't you. Sorry about that, 49ers fans. Yeah, this has been another great episode of Real Takes Over Fake Debates with SB and Sean. We will see you guys on Monday, and we will be doing the NFC North. And hopefully we don't have no other news coming out of LeBron probably choking StephenASmith. Hopefully not, or you know what I'm saying? We don't need no more crazy news, man. Let's just keep it basketball. This is not WWE. Can we just keep it basketball? We will see you guys on the next one. Peace. We are out of here.